Hey guys, this is Blue. So today we will take a look at Ultra Magnus. I recorded that gameplay with him on several lanes where he does well. The first fight against Slipstream, his teammates were alive, so I was not taking advantage of that attack boost from his SIG, but in all the other fights I did, I had a few teammates down in order to utilize that pretty amazing SIG of his. And so I recently took him up to rank 5 on my alt. I've always wanted to play around with him. I never really have as a 5-star. At this point, I'm really only ranking up bots for fun anyway. And the thing about is that he does tend to be ignored because he is outshined by some of the other tacticians like Megatron or OGP. He's gotten a little bit more popular in this new version of the game, which I think is cool. However, a lot of people never really paid attention to him. The thing about him, though, is that even though he's not the most effective tactician, he is actually quite solid, and he can be very good in the right circumstances. And so his SIG is very unique, and it's circumstantial. It's the only SIG in the game that is contingent upon the nature of your team, right? So if more teammates are alive than dead, or he's alone, he gets a flat 20% physical resistance, which just adds to his general tankiness. If more teammates are dead than alive, or it's tied, he gains a massive 96.3 attack boost. So his attack nearly doubles. And if all of his teammates are dead, he gains both the physical resistance and the attack boost. And so this means that in a 5-person team, as long as 2 teammates are down, like in the gameplay I recorded, he's going to get that really incredible attack boost. In AMs, however, if only 1 teammate is down, he's going to get that attack boost. So if you're using him in AMs, you use him in rooms 2 or 3 in particular, when you're more likely to have at least 1 bot down. You know, he could do very well on 3.1, for example, the armor lane, right? As long as 1 teammate is down, though, in AMs, he's going to get that really awesome attack boost. And it does really show. You saw that in the gameplay that I did. His attack goes up significantly, okay? So UM's kit is all about his resistances and his armor breaks, right? So when he's attacked, every time he's hit by physical attacks, he gains a resistance buff that increases his resistance by 3.5%, and you can stack these up to 10, and then he loses 1 stack of energy resistance. Same thing with energy attacks. He gains energy resistance buffs that go up by 2.5% each, also up to 10. So even though you never really want to get hit, he's actually really useful to use in long and difficult fights, or if you are, let's say, less experienced and you still get hit a fair amount. These resistances are fantastic because it just makes him so tanky, and he's very difficult to kill once he builds up these resistances. With his combos, every time he completes a light melee combo, he gets a physical resistance buff, and every time he completes a medium melee combo, he gains an energy resistance buff. So using the right combo, depending on the kind of fight that you're in, can also be helpful. His ranged attacks are very useful because they will always nullify attack or melee buffs, and because it is a 100% chance, they're very reliable. His heavies are actually pretty good as well. There's a 65% chance to inflict burn, and it's a very solid burn, 80% attack over 12 seconds. So it will inflict burn more often than not, and it's a nice long 12-second burn. His heavies are also very useful against bots like Ironhide or Sunny, because if melee reflect is active, or if Sunstreaker is just being very evasive, you can keep your distance. His specials are all about his armor breaks, right? So he uses that hammer of his, and he converts armor buffs on the opponent into armor breaks, each dealing 22.5% armor reduction for 10 seconds. Now here's the thing about his armor breaks, is that 22.5% at rank 5 on its own is not the strongest armor break. However, you can stack these, and it's all about how many armor buffs are on the opponent. So if the opponent has, let's say, 3 armor buffs, you will land 3 armor breaks, which will actually apply close to 70% armor reduction, which is incredible. So he's particularly good against bots that can stack armor buffs. You saw this in the fight that I did against Rodimus. Or against armor mods where armor might stack as well, like the gain armor lane where the opponents can stack up many of those armor buffs. He's really good against bots with multiple armor buffs. And even if you only land 1 stack of armor reduction, it's a nice long 10-second armor break. So it's longer than most other armor breaks. In addition, he has armor penetration on his special 1 and 2. 50% on the special 1, 75% with the special 2. With the special 2, he also gets a 5% melee or range bonus for each active physical or energy resistance buff on him. So if you have a bunch of, let's say, physical resistance buffs, he's going to get a really nice melee bonus or a really nice range bonus depending on your resistances. And so that can really ramp up his special 2 damage. And he also has that 65% chance to inflict burn, again, for 12 seconds. And it's the same thing with the special 3. He has that chance to inflict burn. So his specials are all actually very useful, and Ultra Magnus is a very good armor breaker. He's excellent, like I said, especially in fights against really tanky opponents with lots of armor buffs. He can do fantastically well and just decimate some of those brawlers in particular, okay? And so in terms of synergies, he doesn't have anything amazing, but he does have a bunch of armor and attack synergies, right? He has attack as well as debuff damage and raids with RC. He has armor with Grim and Blaster, attack with Cyclonus and Galva, and then armor and melee damage in solo missions with Prowl, right? So even though he doesn't have any incredible synergies, he does at least have a bunch of these basic armor and attack synergies with a bunch of other bots. And so that's Ultra Magnus, guys. Like I said, he's going to be outshined by some other tacticians, but he's still very solid, and he can be pretty incredible, especially with that SIG of his in the right kinds of fights. And even though it is a circumstantial SIG, there are still plenty of circumstances in this game where you can take full use of that incredible attack bonus he gets. And so at this point in the game, guys, a lot of people are kind of bored. There isn't much to do outside of AMs. So one of the best things you can do is rank up new bots or play around with a different bot. And so if you have some tactician sparks you're not using, or you want to play around with somebody you haven't really used before, Ultra Magnus would be a good candidate. He's solid, he is fun, especially with his SIG, and he's really amazing against, tanky bots with lots of armor. Okay? So I will leave it there for now, guys. Do let me know if you have any questions, and we'll speak again soon. Take care.